Many Christmases ago, I went to buy a doll for my son. I reached for the last one they had, but so did another man. As I rained blows upon him, I realized there had to be another way.
What happened to the doll?
It was destroyed. But out of that, a new holiday was born. A Festivus for the rest of us.
Hello, welcome back to another edition of the FSU Simicast, and happy Festivus for the rest of us. This podcast is another recruiting update. What else is there to talk about this time of year? I'll probably do a Michigan preview at some point before next Friday. Last time I was on here talking about recruiting, we saw that FSU was ranked 13th on 24/7 site, and they had 6 4-star recruits, 1 5-star, and 6 3-star recruits. So 7 blue chippers to 6 non-blue chippers. So we're over the 50% blue chip rate last time we talked about recruiting. Since then, last Friday, 2 more commitments. Trey McKitty, a 3-star tight end, 6'4", 300, geez, that'd be a ridiculous tight end. 240 pounds, 3-star kid from IMG Academy down there in Bradenton. And he doesn't really fill a need per se, especially there's already another tight end in this class. And you still have Izzo and Saunders and Upshur and Kerr already on the roster. But if FSU is going to run more 2 tight end sets going forward in the seasons to come, I guess it's okay to take another 2 tight ends this class. Either way, McKitty could be underrated as a 3-star. And before I go any further, I'm not one of those fans that's like, all of our 3-stars are really 4-stars. They're all underrated, I fucking swear. No, that's not the case. Okay, if that was, I would go through and name some more. But I'm not going to. But when it comes to McKitty, I have read that it would not be a shock if he got a 4th star. See how I want to say he's part of the Under Armour. I think he's in one of the All-Star games. Anyways, if he is, and I think he indeed is, assuming he does well in practice, and if he does well in the game, he might pick up that 4th star. But from what I gather, he actually could be underrated at 3 stars. Regardless, picked him up along with 3-star JUCO linebacker Adonis Thomas. And Adonis Thomas was actually a 4-star recruit out of high school when he originally committed to Alabama. He redshirted there, then he left and went to JUCO because, hey, if you're at Bama, even if you're a blue chip recruit, it's hard to find playing time. So he could be possibly another underrated 3-star. Not really sure. Doesn't really matter. What he is a need, because linebacker is a little thin. It could get thinner if Matthew Thomas does not qualify again. Can he play for 2 seasons in a row, or will he leave for the pros? Who knows? And of course, we've had suspensions, dismissals, transfers of linebackers, just linebacker attrition out the asshole. So Thomas, at the very least, is a need. And he was the number 2 JUCO linebacker, I believe. So a quality player, 3-star or not, underrated or not. And so now, coming into today, we're under the 50% blue chip rate. Now there's 8 3-stars and 7 blue chippers. But that could change today, which is why I'm really on here. 5-star defensive end out of IMG. That place just brings in high school athletes from around the country to play there. Commits tonight, Joshua Kaindoh. And defensive end is a position of need. And according to 24/7's air quotes experts, there's about a 78% chance he commits to FSU tonight. He's originally from Maryland, and then he actually, I believe, committed to Maryland a while ago. Then he decommitted, and now it's basically down to FSU and Penn State, with FSU the heavy favorite to land him. And why wouldn't FSU be the heavy favorite to land him against Penn State? I mean, let's be real. Brad Lawing, FSU's defensive end coach, is regarded as maybe the best defensive end coach in the country, or at least one of them. Lawing came in 2015, and that season saw a big improvement in sack totals from the previous season in 2014. And then, of course, this year, FSU led the country in sacks. And Kaindoh also might have noticed that true freshman Brian Burns for FSU has 9.5 sacks and was a freshman All-American. So, can't blame the kid. Can't blame a highly regarded defensive end committing to FSU. And that'll happen at 7 p.m. tonight. Don't know what outlet, what channel, what network. Really don't. I mean, if you're on Twitter, if you follow anybody that follows the Noles, I'm sure you'll see it. But hopefully that prediction by the experts is correct, because that would fill a huge need, and that would get FSU its second 5-star of this class, and put FSU back at the 50% blue chip rate, which is oh so important. Going forward, the next Florida State target that is set to commit is 5-star running back Cam Akers. 24/7 now has him as their number one running back. I've mentioned him before on the last recruiting podcast. YouTube him, Google him, watch him. The kid is electric, which is obviously, 5-star running back. I'm sure like any other 5-star running back, their high school tape is insane. And this guy's no different, but not every 5-star is built the same, if you know what I mean. Some you can just watch a highlight reel or watch a game or whatever and say, that guy is a different dude. Okay, I think Akers is 5'11", 213. He's similar to Cook, because I think Cook was 6 feet, is 6 feet tall, about 213. So he has a similar build. He also has very good acceleration, ability to cut on a dime, top end speed, a little bit of power, a little bit of everything. He announced Tuesday, and FSU is currently the favorite to land him as well, according to the 24/7 Schmees. So I'll have to pay attention to that after Christmas and see if he indeed does. But according to 24/7's class calculator, if Kaindoh does follow through with what the people on 24/7 are saying and commits to FSU tonight, and then Akers does the same come Tuesday, FSU's class, which currently sits at number 12 after those 2 3-star commits last Friday, they did go up to 12. Don't know if I mentioned that. They will catapult themselves with the addition of Akers and Kaindoh into the top 5, according to the class calculator. I mean, not too shocking. You get 2 5-stars in a matter of like 4 days. That's going to happen. And it would indeed fulfill what a lot of people think. Hey, like I said, the last recruiting podcast, don't sweat it, Noles fans, outside the top 10, but they could close very strongly and at worst be a top 10, maybe top 5. Akers is probably a coin flip between FSU and Ole Miss, even though FSU is the favorite according to the numbers. But I would say it's probably a coin flip. I mean, Ole Miss is the hometown team, and historically, according to I think a 24/7 writer, I think Sonone is his last name, he laid out the numbers, and it was basically something ridiculous, like since 2008 or something like that, Mississippi players that have been ranked 4 stars or 5 stars virtually never leave the state, and if they do, it's for like one of the neighboring states, like Bama or Arkansas or Tennessee. And I think the number 1 rated Mississippi high school player hasn't left since about that time. Like it basically, it's hard as shit to get Mississippi players to move out of the state, let alone the neighboring states. So if Jimbo and company pulls Akers from Mississippi to Florida, that might be Jimbo's biggest out-of-state recruit, which is saying something because he's had some big ones. But considering the numbers of how rare it is for high-rated Mississippi players to leave, it might just be the biggest. And Akers, as I mentioned before, could start day 1, according to some people. He is that talented. I'm telling you. Watch his highlights. It's just stupid. The kid is stupid good. And FSU fans would be so lucky to go from Cook to this guy. Like, a lot can change. The kid could always get hurt. He could not live up to the billing. But from what I see, and I'm no scout, but over the years, I've watched enough highlight videos where, like, you see one highlight video, like, oh, I've seen this highlight video like a million times from different players, same song and dance. But then sometimes there's some players, some 5 stars that you're like, okay, that's a different kind of kid. that's what Akers is. So I have to wait till Tuesday. I will probably do a podcast um, after his commitment, whether he announces to FSU or not. Um, but to be fair, if FSU does not get Akers, not all is not lost. Have four-star Laybourne and four-star White locked up, the two running backs already. Okay, so it's not a position of need. Whereas Kaindoh, who commits tonight, defensive end is a position of need. So if I have to pick one, I'm going with Kaindoh because it's the need. Anyway, we'll find out tonight. Hopefully he dons the garnet and gold because I love those five-star defensive linemen. You can win and lose the game up front, as you probably already know. All right, well, this wraps up another FSU Simulcast. Little recruiting update to sum up. FSU got 2 3-star recruits last Friday, which bumped them up from the 13th ranked class on 24/7 to the 12th. If Kaindoh commits tonight and Akers commits Tuesday, that'll catapult FSU into the top 5 on 24/7's class rank. So we'll find out on Kaindoh soon enough, and we'll have to wait on Akers. But things are trending up. FSU could close very, very strong. Speaking of closing very strong, little side note, our opponent, Michigan, has been absolutely killing it this month in recruits. My Bleacher Report, one of the things I follow is just football recruiting, so it'll flash me a notification. I swear, the past few days, it's like, Michigan receives commitment from 4-star this, 4-star that. Like, I haven't looked at the team rankings today, but I'm guessing Michigan's probably right under Alabama and Ohio State at 3, or maybe at worst, they're up to number 4 now behind Georgia. Either way, they're on a tear, man. Same song and dance, man. Those schools, those coaches, they get the players. All right. Thanks for listening. First time visitor, feel free to subscribe. This has been another Florida State Simulcast. And I'm out. Oh, yes, I'm out.